What up, Soul Fam? Man, did you guys watch the news today? There was like a fucking conference. Allegedly, there's aliens. And they just made contact with the Russian government. And then Russia contacted the United States. And there's supposed to be some intergalactic confederation council meeting. Or something. Bullshit, right? Of course it is. It has to do with aliens. It has to be bullshit. And that's the thing that we got to be mindful of. How manipulated we are to believe something. And all it takes is fear. The fear of being a fool for believing something. And we fear embarrassment and guilt and shame so much that we'd rather just follow along rather than make our own decision with the chances of us looking stupid. We're all manipulated, and we have to fucking accept that and become aware of it so we could start working on fixing it. Because just know, like, if you kept on hearing individuals saying that there was contact with extraterrestrial and there's going to be some type of meeting on planet Earth that's going to get all the Confederate Council of the universe or whatever, and you kept on hearing this about aliens and council meetings, you wouldn't believe it because you've been programmed so much for so long to believe that anything that you hear about aliens has to be bullshit. And that's all it takes is just saying, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. You're fucking dumb for believing that. And we just fucking ignore it because we don't want to fucking be looking dumb. And that's all it takes is to manipulate us. That's all it takes. And if we're mindful of that, how else is that fucking unfolding in our lives? You know? What does it take for us to believe something is true? Just seeing it on the news? Seeing a few coworkers doing it? And then we follow along and doing it because, well, it was on the news and then everybody else is doing it. So shit, it has to be true. And it doesn't have to be that way. You know? It shouldn't be that way. I mean, the real process that should be unfolding is, well, they tell me this on the news, and then I see these individuals following along. Well, hold up. Let me just check in with myself and say, does this feel right? Is this in alignment with who I am? And your soul's going to be like, fuck no. Fuck no, it ain't. And then you'll make the appropriate decision. But that's how we need to start making our decisions. We need to check in with ourselves. Remember, don't nobody have the answers for us. They can only confirm what we already know. And maybe you've experienced this in your life where you were bent on making a certain decision and you just couldn't make it. But then you just keep on hearing things out in your external environment, maybe conversations, YouTube videos, and it's confirming what the decision that you wanted to make. And that's how this universe works. We have our answers. They flow to us. 9 times out of 10, we don't trust them because we don't trust ourselves because there's a disconnect between us and our spirit. We don't trust the information that we receive and we write it off. And then it keeps on showing up in our external environment and be like, man, I think I need to make this decision. And you know you do. And if you just connect to the universe in that manner, you will always know what you need to know when you need to know it. You don't need to look out here to see what anybody else is doing until it tunes in here first. And then you go out here and say, oh, it's confirming it. Okay. Well, maybe I should make that decision. I think I should. But no, we hear things on the news repeatedly that we see our fellow human beings doing it, following along, and we don't want to look like we're outside the herd. We don't want to come off as weird or stupid or ridiculous, so we just follow along. we don't know why we're following along. It doesn't even feel right following along, but we do it so we could just blend in and go unnoticed. But who is going unnoticed? Who thinks? Who's that person in you that thinks it's going unnoticed? Who's that person or that aspect of you that just goes with the flow to avoid conflict and confrontation? Because I think that aspect needs some healing. Because it just doesn't seem right. So find out what it is that gets you to make a certain decision. Is it just seeing people out here doing it? You follow along? You got to hear it on the news? Or is it you check in and then you allow your universe to confirm with you? You know? Because when this whole mask thing first started going on, it didn't feel right to me. It didn't feel right one bit. And it was almost like it was creating apathy within me. And I didn't want to look at I didn't want to look down on individuals, but I honestly kept on thinking of how foolish they were, you know? And I was always questioning, like, am I making the right decision that's best for me, that, you know, with my health and wellness and survival in mind? And my environment will always confirm it. It kept on sending me individuals that were against the mask and, you know, certain videos about, you know, the health risks of wearing the mask. And so that's how I knew I was making the right decision. So you have to check in with yourself and ask yourself, am I in alignment? Because if you wear that mask and while you're wearing it, you feel shameful, well, let's connect to the beginning of when you first started wearing it. And when you first put that thing on and you were walking around and you were amongst your fellow humans, did you feel shameful? Did you feel embarrassed having it on your face? Guilty? Just something didn't feel right to you, but you just continued doing it because you thought it was, you know, making you safe, protecting you? But inside you felt shameful? Well, that was your soul saying, you don't have to wear this. You're protected. You're protected. And the reason why you feel that is because it's out of alignment with the way Source sees this whole experience and how Source sees you. And Source doesn't see you needing a mask. Source just says, I'm protecting you. What will be, will be. So just let go and let God. And it's kind of funny. It brings up this, you know, experience I've had when I was in Phoenix. And me and Melanie, the little soul sister I touched down with out there just synchronistically, I was adjusting something on the roof of a car and a guy had came up asking for some change. And he had a mask on his face. So Melanie was like, yeah, I got some change, but, you know, I just want to tell you, I just want to share with you that you don't need to wear that mask. You're safe. God is protecting you. And you could remove it and just know that you're going to be okay. You're going to be well. And a lady overheard us telling him this. And she went off and says, how dare you tell him that God is protecting him? God isn't protecting him. He needs that mask. That mask is keeping him safe. And, oh, she was furious, you know. And we didn't buy into the hype, you know. We didn't gas her up. Not so much, a little bit. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's how a lot of these individuals, they don't feel protected. They feel disconnected. They feel separated. So they think that they need these outside things to keep them safe. But you're only as safe as strong as your faith is. If your faith is strong, your safety is strong. So find out where you've been manipulated at and start making a change towards questioning these things. and just realizing that you are safe. And these masks are unnecessary, and they're really just an inside joke about how your voice doesn't matter. Just put a mask over their face, just silence them. They don't mean shit. And that's the inside joke behind it all, between the powers that be. And not only is it an inside joke, all laughing at us wearing these things, saying, oh, our voice doesn't matter. It's a small little voice. But when we start fucking combining all the voices together, that's when change starts happening. But on top of, us being silenced, they're causing health risks. Part of the detoxification of the human body is through the breath. And if we're fucking breathing in what we're trying to release, what do you think that's doing to our body? Like, even on more importantly, on an energetic level, right? Like, think about it this way, like something scary, like like you're in a car, right? And someone slams on their brake in front of you, and you react, and you're like, oh, and you hit the brakes. That's a form of release, energetic release, right? Like, if you were to hold that in, like, and then at the top, like we usually would, we'd be like, oh, and then we'll hold it in, and we're holding that energy within us, and a fragment of that gets stored. And that's why we can relive these certain experiences, and they still have the energetic charge that they had when we first experienced them, because we hold that in. And the breath helps us release that. That's why breath work is so powerful. It's like, I mean, feel how liberating that feels, just to take a full deep breath and just, it feels amazing. So they know the power of breath. I mean, there's two things on this planet that you just cannot survive without. And that is fucking your air, your prana, and water. And they're really just aspects of each other. But we won't even get into that. But yeah, so that's how powerful your breath is. Your breath could liberate you mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. Could regain. You could store back your original health blueprint through your breath. And if you're not familiar with breath work, then you need to start living under the sun and like look into like Wim Hof. Once you kind of get that under your belt, you'll be guided to even more effective. I don't even want to say effective, because his is just as effective, but more intense, like holotropic breath work. Now that's intense shit, and the outcome of that is actually a DMT release, a psychedelic experience. But really, it's just a natural process of the body that happens when we pull the energy from the base of our spine all the way up into our pineal, which is it holds fluid of like DMT. I'm not even going to get into the science of it, but that whole experience of when you vaporize DMT is already a natural process of the body, and you could learn how to activate that on command whenever you wanted to through your breath. But I'm getting off topic. Just know that mask that's covering your face is killing you slowly. Killing me softly with his mask. You know what I mean? Either way, I hope everybody's having a beautiful day. And just focus on yourself. Find out what it is that you should be doing. As far as a vision. Without a vision, you're just fucking going in circles. Without a vision in life, you're not going to go nowhere. That's the first step, Create this vision. Create it, because there's an opportunity going on right now. And this opportunity could just change your life. Like, you could look at this whole fucking pandemic thing as a curse, and it's happening to you. Or you could look at it as a gift and an opportunity that's happening for you, and create something great from it. But that's your decision. That's your free will. So just remember, this life was God's gift to you. What you do with it is your gift back to God. So it all starts with loving yourself.